Yo, what's going on, my dudes? Today we are going to be looking at all the knives in Counter-Strike and seeing which ones suck and which ones don't suck as much. To be real, I actually like most of the knives, so I imagine this tier list is going to be pretty heavily skewed towards A, but some of my takes might be a little interesting. So I'm going to use Nox for the glove, and we're just going to look at all the vanilla knives. But yeah, let's get cracking. We'll start it off with the Bowie knife. Alright, here we go. Bowie knife. It's basically a freaking sword, so you get a lot of knife for your money, that's for sure. But it's sick. It's got some cool inspects. I've had a Bowie knife a couple times. You basically just got a sword. There's not much else to it. It's pretty fucking huge, and now you can see your second glove, which is also pretty sick. So we're gonna start off strong, and we're gonna go. I reckon this is a solid contender for B. It's pretty mid tier, but it does the job. Alright, next up we've got the Nomad knife. Let's take a look at it. It's an interesting knife for sure. It's got a weird pull-out animation, and it's pretty basic. It looks pretty cool in some finishes. It's an okay knife. I mean, there's nothing super special about it. It's got a little bit of a weird handle there, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it's also another strong contender for B. Let's move on to the butterfly knife. Alright, so butterfly knife. Obviously, you've got sick animations. You've got a sick blade. Yeah. It's a cool knife. You've got a default animation that also plays, so you sort of get a crap ton of animations for a lot of price because it's an expensive knife, but it is a good knife. And yeah, of course I'm going to put it in S tier. Were we surprised? No. It's going there though. Alright, next up, Karambit time. Yeah, look, it's going straight in S. It's a sick knife. You get cool animations. It looks cool. The only thing I don't like about it is it sticks out on the right, so you just got a lot more on the right hand side, but apart from that, I mean, come on, it's Karambit. And here's where the shit takes begin. I'm actually not a huge fan of the M9. I know that's kind of heresy to say because it's like everyone's favorite knife or a staple of like a really good knife, but it's just kind of fucking boring. Honestly, all you get is the basic animation for inspect, and the pullout is good, it's cool, but you know, you get your finger phasing through a hole and you get a basic animation. So yes, it's cool, like the blade looks sick, and that is kind of what holds it up against everything else, I think, is that the blade just looks so dope. So it's going to go in A. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate this knife, but I just don't love it as much as everyone else does. Next up, the Huntsman knife. Now, I'm a bit of a slut for the spin animation. It looks sick, although it does have the basic inspect animation, which kind of holds it back from being better than what it is. Although I do love that fucking spin. It looks sick. This one's going in A. Next up, skeleton knife. It's got a sick animation if you get it, although you only get it like 1 in every 1,000 tries. But it is pretty dope. The only reason this isn't an S tier knife for me is because the default animation sucks. The inspect's cool, the default inspect's cool, and the rare inspect is even cooler. And I like this knife a lot. It would be S tier if the default pull animation, or the rare one, was more common. Talon knife. You know, the handle, obviously, is kind of shit, but the rest of the knife is kind of dope. I like this knife a lot. It pairs well with some gloves, not all gloves, and it's basically just a mini Karambit. It's like a baby Karambit. It's a sick knife. I like this knife. I think it's a solid A tier. It would be S tier if the handle was black, probably. The Falchion knife. I am a fan of this knife when it's in your hands. The pull-out animation, I don't like. That kind of sucks, especially if you're AWPing. It's pretty jarring. But when you've got it in your hands, you either get a sick spin, you get a sick right-click animation, or you get the rare animation. It's kind of dope. I'm sort of torn. It's better than what we've got in B, but it's definitely the end of A. I'm going to put it in B. It's top of B. Next up, classic knife. Comes with a pretty decent draw animation, the default inspect, unless you get the rare inspect, which I'll try and force. There you go. It looks pretty sick. And you get an idle animation, which is actually a pretty good animation. It's not just rubbing your thumb against it like the butterfly knife. I like the classic knife. The only thing that holds it back is this like weird splatter pattern on it that looks a bit strange. Obviously, it's got its place being the OG knife, but and don't get me wrong, I love this knife. It looks sick in some finishes, but I am fully aware that that splatter sort of kind of looks shit. It's going in B. Ursus. I'm torn between this knife. Because when you get the rare animations, it's cool. And when you don't, it's kind of mid. And the handle looks kind of shit too. So when you get the rare animation, it is pretty cool. As far as comparing it to the other knives go, I'm going to put it in B tier. The flip knife. It's pretty boring, but it does look cool. It is going to go in B. It's just so boring though. But it does look sick. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm a gut knife enjoyer and I use a gut knife. Most of the knives I've had in this game have been gut knives, but it does pain me to say it that this is definitely a C tier knife, if not D. It is pretty fucking shit. But it's got that spin. Oh! Objectively, obviously, it's going to go in C. I'm just going to say it. I like the gut knife. The Bayonet. It's got a pretty cool draw animation. I think that one's sick. But it's got a really shit inspect. It's really boring. Obviously, it's a cool blade and it looks sick, but the handle also holds it back a little bit. It's gonna... Oh, yeah, you're gonna hate me for this. It's going in B for now. The butt plugs. You get 2 knives for your money instead of 1. They're kind of tiny, but you do get 2. And the handles can look sick. Plus, it shows off your gloves. I think they're underrated. And I'm gonna underrate them here and put them in C. Because they're butt plugs. And I will say, I do miss that they don't make me feel car sick anymore when I pull them out. They used to fucking move my screen. Now they don't, and I kind of miss it. The Navaja knife. The spoon. This knife kind of sucks. The handle looks worse than the gut knife. The pull-out animation sucks. And the inspect is boring. And it's a tiny blade. Sorry, Navaja enjoys. This knife, yeah, it's D. And it's probably going to be the only knife in D. It sucks. The Paracord knife. I know this knife isn't loved. And it's fair enough, it's because it's fucking weird. I'm not a huge fan, but I can see why people would like it. Don't get me wrong, like it is interesting. Does it have it? Yeah, there we go. I've never had one of these, evidently. And I don't think I ever will. There's nothing that makes me want to buy this knife. Or use it above any other knife. It's not as shit as the Navaja, but it is going into C tier. Stiletto knife. It's a nice knife. And I like the animation. That's pretty good. It sounds satisfying too. It's basically the default inspect, except you're holding it in your like tips of your hand. But the rare one is cool. Yeah, like that's pretty sick. Although some people would put this knife in S, it is going to go in A for me. It's good, but it's not that good. Survival knife. There we go. It took me forever to get that rare animation. It's an interesting one. Honestly, you could go this knife if you like it. I don't really hate it. It's a bit goofy because it's got a lot going on. It's just a little weird though. It just feels strange. It's going to go in C with the other C tier knives because I kind of feel like that's where it belongs. But I could definitely see a case being made for it for B.
Alright, last one. I nearly forgot about the Kukri knife, but here it is. It's an interesting knife. I don't like that animation. The inspect is basically the default, but you whip it around. And I do like that animation. So it's got some stuff going for it. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's necessarily great. Comparing it to the other knives, I think, and that is going to be in B tier. Because it's not better than like the Bayonet, I don't think, or the Bowie, or the Flip. But that's where it's going.
And there we go. That's our full tier list. Some shit takes in there for sure, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that looks pretty right to me. Let me know what you change. But yeah, cheers. All right, bye.